The Atomic Real Estate Show, bringing you the real state of real estate. Brought to you by Danny Bennett Productions in partnership with Direct Subs.
This episode is brought to you by our friends over at The Rook. You can reach them at The Rook Manioc on Instagram. They're located at 4001 Crescent Street. Our friends over at The Rook did not want us to focus on their business for the sponsorship, which speaks volumes about the character of the gentleman who owned The Rook. They wanted us to utilize this sponsorship to talk about their favorite nonprofit organizations to donate to. Number one is Steppin' with Stofir. You can reach them at Steppin' with Stofir on Instagram, and they are helping ease the financial burden of individuals going through cancer treatments. Number two is Sloan's Roses, at Sloan's Roses on Instagram. They're providing assistance to family members that have suffered or been affected by a child-related death, injury, loss, or tragedy. The other nonprofit organization is at Lisa's Army on Instagram, and they are comforting those battling cancer.
Hey guys, Ryan Dolan here with another episode of the Atomic Real Estate. Nick Cessna in the house, and we have Jesse Sigall from Hall of Fame Real Estate, South Jersey. Jesse, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're catching up a little bit before tape, and tell us a little bit about your story. What did you do?
So I work for Hall of Fame Real Estate. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. We're a full-circle real estate company, so we do a little bit of everything. I've been with the company, it'll be 4 years in March. But I got brought on to just kind of do marketing, like build out the operation that my CEO, Santini, was building. And it's crazy where we've come from and where we've ended up now. It's a completely different company. So to look back on like what we have accomplished is awesome. We do a little bit of everything, like I said, fix and flip, wholesale. We have a small portfolio now, which we're currently liquidating. We also have a close friend of ours that owns a brokerage, so we consider that kind of a sister company to us. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Did you go to school for marketing?
I went to college. I actually didn't graduate. I always took that working route. So I would work and go to college, and then I started working more, going to college less.
Where'd you go to college?
And that kind of just fizzled out. Just community college in South Jersey, yeah.
And that's where you were raised in South Jersey.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Sicklerville, New Jersey, which is in Camden County. That's where we do most of our business too. We really don't venture outside of like 4 core counties, and then we do business in 9 counties in South Jersey.
Nice. So when did you jump on? Like, when did you get brought on board? So you said, college isn't for me. I'm going to get into the real estate game. Was, your folks in it before, family members? Like, how'd that all shake out?
Yeah, I guess I always had an interest in it. So I kind of went the retail route. I ended up becoming a store manager of a jewelry store. And then from there, they were a franchise. They were based out of Bluebell, and they owned 5 like Pandora jewelry stores. So I ended up starting to do like operations for them, get into the Excel spreadsheets, KPIs, all that stuff. And I enjoyed that. But then the hours sucked because it was also at the same time retail, Christmas, holidays, all that. So I actually took a jump. I'm like, you know what? Let me like try and work this whole 9 to 5 rat race thing. So I kind of started over. And that was in like 2018. I ended up working for Liberty Mutual Insurance. Just kind of did that normal 9 to 5. Loved it, honestly, for 3 years, and then COVID hit, and everyone got sent home. And then I loved it even more because I was at home, not doing shit. And then, I started to kind of realize, like, I miss being in charge, doing creative things. I was, again, in that rat race, doing the same thing every day, and I eventually got so tired of it that I was like, you know what, I need to get out. So my brother had just started working for my boss, Santini, and he was kind of just dabbling in wholesale. He owned a crap ton of rentals at that time. So he needed like a sales guy to kind of go out there, take a look at houses, offer sellers, off market, prices and so on and so forth. So Santini at that time was doing all of the marketing, and we did a lot of outbound marketing, cold call, all that stuff that most wholesalers do. And for months, he kind of just took it on himself until he eventually said, I need a marketing guy. I need someone that can come in, take this over so I can focus on growing the business. And I was bothering him for months. And so was my brother, like, let me get in. Because at that time I was so tired of my 9 to 5.
Was your little brother, did he go to college?
Yeah, so Sean actually graduated with like a finance degree.
Okay.
And
So not using his
yeah,
degree.
he was actually hardscaping with Dave Graff.
Oh yeah,
And
I do remember
that's
that.
when Santini was
He
like,
did a couple of my neighbors' patios.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah,
Yeah.
small world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after the summer, stopped, he eventually, started working in real estate. And I always had an interest in it, like I said. So it was for me, like, let's just dive into it. So I ended up just leaving my full-time job. I had a pension there, 401k, the whole thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Like, now's the time. I think it was like 26 at that time. And I was like, let's just see where this takes me.
Single, no kids, like nothing to lose.
Yeah. Yeah, my boss was like, listen, I'll pay $500 a week. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
It's way less than I was making, but I would have done it for free to learn what I learned and what I know now. Looking back, I always say that to myself. I would have done that for free.
Now, what did your dad say about you two doing that? Was he like, what the fuck are you just doing? Like, was he like...
No, my dad was always like for the choices that we made. You know what I mean? My dad took that college route and he ended up making, a good career for himself. But Sean was fresh out of college. He saw me, work really hard in retail and then work really hard in a 9-to-5. And he saw how frustrated I became with that 9-to-5 and how much I hated life.
The rat race.
The rat race. Yeah. And eventually he's like, you know what? If you want to take this leap of faith, I got trust in you.
So you're like, so I want to go work for less money for 100 hours a week now.
Yeah.
Well, why did you take a leap of faith with who? It's Santini, you said, right?
Yeah.
So this character, Santini, he's a private investor. Girl or guy?
Guy.
So he's a private investor, owns a bunch of rentals in your area. You're gravitated towards the process because you feel like this is about to blow up, this company, and you're going to get in on ground level. Is that how it worked, or no?
Was it him, or was it like the process that they were doing? Like, what was it?
Yeah, what was it? 'Cause
It was him that sold me, definitely. He was a sort of like a family friend. So we knew him. We met him quite a few times, and he looked like he was doing really well. And, he left his full-time W-2 job. He worked for WB Mason. He was making great money.
Sure.
And he took the dive in after he bought like 30 rentals. He's like, I'm just going to do this full-time. And then, the Bigger Pockets podcasts and all the people on YouTube, they get you all excited.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
So that kind of, I was like victim to that. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, let's go do this. And I had like a cushion for myself. Like I had like, I guess, a contingency plan. So if it didn't work out, I could always go back to working again. I had plenty of experience,
And you had youth on your side. Now, was he an open book? Like, this is what I got going on. This is how I do it. This is what I'm doing. This is what I would need you to do. Or was it kind of secretive and you were like, it sounds interesting, it sounds mysterious, and it looks like he's doing great. Like, what was it? What was it about?
I guess it was a little bit of both, right?
Okay.
Because when I first got brought on, we still talk about it this day, my first day, like we really didn't know, like he didn't know how to fit me in because there was no position that I needed to fill. We were creating something out of nothing. So my very first day, I'm like changing colors on the website. And he's like kind of giving me a side eye, but he also didn't give me direction what to do. But he gave me this big list of like, here's what I want to do. And I was always a self-starter too, right? So like for me getting in there, I was like, let me see what I can tweak and change to make this a little bit better. And then we started building on it together. So I guess it was a little bit of both, you know?
So now with you guys, as you kind of get in there, you went into the marketing role, and the company's kind of evolving. So did you pivot into the sales portion of it too, or are you helping on any of the acquisition side, or setting up kind of these fix and flip loans or deals? Like, tell us a little bit more about.
As I gained more experience, I kind of became like the quasi sales manager.
Yep. Okay.
Because we had 2 guys, my brother and another guy, and then we ended up having 3. Then we had 4. Then we had 5. So it just grew really quickly over the course of like the first year. And, I'm kind of just dabbling in whatever I can while building it at the same time. So it was honestly like helter-skelter for a while.
When did the company start? When did
Santini started buying rentals in like 2016.
Okay.
And then he really like took a deep dive into wholesaling like mid-COVID. So like I got brought on, March 2021.
Okay.
So we were already doing like $100,000 a month in wholesale assignment fees. We were doing like 6-7 deals a month. And then from there, we just kind of started growing it more and more and more.
No, can you explain wholesaling? I don't know if we've even had.
Yeah, and we've never had a wholesaler.
Like, we know exactly
and
what it
we
is,
say it, we throw it out there like, and everybody assumes like they know what it is, but it's really a process that a lot of people don't. So please explain.
Yeah, so we do a lot of active marketing to sellers in the counties that we choose to market in, and we usually contract them at X price. With that contract, you can kind of do whatever you want with it. It is assignable, so a lot of times we'll assign it to a different end buyer. That's a lot of active income, right? That's what makes you be able to move fast, scale quickly, because the money's quick. You're selling it to all different types of investors. You're selling that house to a fix and flipper or a landlord. We did probably 80 to 90% of the deals that we did back then were wholesale. Now we are, definitely way less wholesale and way more fix and flip.
So
You actually don't buy any rentals anymore.
Yeah, so you use the wholesale to kind of generate cash, put more money into the business. Now you can pivot into bigger projects, either the buy, the fix and flip, or even the rent and hold. Start your portfolio and keep expanding that way. So as with the wholesale, is there a certain number in your area? Is there a certain percentage that you guys are looking for? Like, hey, this has to be kind of where we acquire, and this has to be where the outsale needs to be. Obviously, you have that blueprint. What kind of moves the needle there in South Jersey, and what makes you successful at the acquisition? Because obviously we always talk about the money's in the acquisition, right? Like, what are you doing there? Kind of sell us your secret sauce on the acquisition part.
Every deal is different, and that's why if you have multiple exit strategies, you're able to really be able to pivot, because if you're just strictly a wholesaler, you're going to lose, because there's people like us out there that can just buy the house and, put a little bit of lipstick on it and sell it. Obviously, whatever the house is worth after it's all fixed up, ARV, minus at 70% minus repairs is kind of that general back of the napkin. But we like to not put everything in that box, because there's a deal that can be made out of mostly anything. We have honestly like 5 or 6 exit strategies now that we can utilize, and we have that brokerage in our back pocket, access to private money. So for us, I mean, there's not many deals that we can't make something out of.
Yeah, so you're analyzing all deals differently. And one we're going to get into, obviously, is the finance piece, because that's what I work in. So when are you utilizing the banks? What kind of programs are you using? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we primarily work with just one hard money lender, Renova Financial. Shout out to them.
Okay.
They are awesome. They are based out of Chicago. They have a big presence in North Jersey. So we've kind of built them up down here in South Jersey with our relationships. We use hard money on bigger projects, so things that need over $60,000, $70,000 in repairs. Anything that's like quick in and out, or things that we just are buying and taking back to the market shortly after, we'll use private money. Just because it's easier, it's faster, there's not a lot of underwriting, doesn't need an appraisal, stuff like that. We use our own cash too, but we're kind of cash hoarders, so we like that.
Sure.
Take a couple chips off the table. So we're usually utilizing private money, hard money.
Now, why is it that the first step of people getting into real estate investing is a lot of times wholesaling, right? Because you don't really need you don't need any money, really, right?
No.
But why is it that people don't stay in wholesaling? Like, not a lot.
Yeah,
there's only a handful that I know of that just stick with wholesaling. Right? Now, they may invest for themselves and do some stuff, but their main focus is wholesaling. Why is it that people get in and then quickly just move on to the next steps in
I think for the people that stay in wholesaling, it's a matter of what risks are they willing to take. There's so little risk in wholesaling. You know what I mean? Because you can easily just exit a contract if you can't sell it. Versus if you're actually buying a property, you're taking on a risk. You know what I mean? Usually the numbers work out. But, from everyone's experience, I'm sure sitting here, they don't always work out.
Sure.
And I think that some people just don't want that weight on their shoulders.
Yeah, plus you got to be churning and burning to keep, stay profitable wholesaling, right? I mean, the acquisition, you get, especially in different markets, it's obviously if it's a $200,000-$300,000 market, you got to do quite a bit of wholesale. You got
to do quite a bit of marketing.
Yeah,
so you got to pump a lot. You got to pump a lot of money in. And I feel like the best wholesalers are the ones that just continually refine their process and stay as lean as they possibly can. And then they have real deal buyers where they're like, I already know when I'm going in to look at this and I'm going in to sign this contract, I know who I'm selling it to.
Yeah.
I feel like they're the best ones.
Did you guys have a lot of the outsell buyers ready to go on a lot? And I know every deal is different, obviously, but what did that philosophy kind of look like? Or did it just kind of wing it?
Yeah, I mean, we have a massive list of end buyers.
Okay.
We actively market to, email, text. We have a few, obviously, VIP pocket buyers. We are our biggest buyer. So we have access to a database that shows us who's buying what, where, for what discount. We are actually top of the list for all of the counties that we do business in.
Oh, damn.
But it honestly, a lot of people think like with this wholesaling thing, it's like fly by the night, shady. People don't realize it's an actual business in order to be successful at it. We have over 20 employees, and that's not including who we have overseas, right? Full-time, in office, every single day, Monday through Friday. Each person has their own little job to do. And honestly, that's how you're able to build on things like that. Because it is hard. It's not a one-man operation. It is if you're doing a couple deals at a time, you know, and you're selling to those same buyers, or you're looking for a deal specifically to sell it to that buyer. But when you're doing it at volume like we are, you need people. You need an army.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It gets that reputation as like, it's shady. You're still you're doing all the dirty work, right? You're looking for it. You're making the cold calls. You're spending all the money on marketing. It's a big cost to find these properties and the paperwork and to facilitate it. It should, if it was easy, everybody would just go straight to the source and do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's
what brings in the most deals? Is it cold calling? Is it
what marketing
is it
piece?
mailers? What is it?
For us, it's mailers. That's totally like geographically like
just physical mails in the mailbox. Hey, we buy and sell kind of houses. We flip them. Hall of Fame real estate.
Yeah, we do pretty much all like omni-channel marketing because we want to be seen by all in all different shapes and forms, because you could get a mailer and not read it, but if you were to see us on the TV or see us on Google, it kind of becomes full circle. We spend about $115,000 to $125,000 a month just on marketing.
Oh wow!
Yes.
So
it's a machine.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what we like to talk about, and we haven't enough, is like, how about your SEO stuff, like your search engine? Kind of. Is that where you drive a lot of business?
We do.
Otherwise, because I mean, obviously that's the way the world's shifting. Yeah. Physical mailers, I kind of asked twice because I get a physical, piece of mail and I throw it right away.
Yeah. What makes people read it? Now, me and my lady have spoken about this before. Now he's in a completely different business. He does hardscaping and landscaping. And when he first broke into the main line around here, which is a very affluent area, he said, I had to spend money on really nice card stock, really nice stuff with the information on it. And I wanted people to see it and be like, this is really nice. And then it makes them read it, where it wasn't just like your run of the mill, flimsy bullshit. And they just throw it away. He was like, I want it hard to rip up and I want it to look pretty so people see it, but not too much bullshit on it. Now, what is your take on what have you guys learned with the mailers?
So it has, you got to spend money on them and they got to look nice. So we have a variety of different pieces that we send out. We test them. We see what, kind of calls they bring in. For us, what performs the best is a check mailer. So it's a physical check, looks very real. It comes in an envelope and it has a number on it. And we have a software that, takes every address and places a number on it. It's usually a percentage of the ARV. And when you open it, it could go either way. It causes you to call, or, it causes you to rip it up.
It's smart because you're appealing to people in dire financial need usually. So they're like, oh, money, right? Yeah. So that's like that's actually smart. I don't think I've ever gotten those. I've gotten handwritten letters from a lot of my properties.
Yes. Yeah.
And I get a lot of the call. I'm probably the worst person to call. I get a lot of calls from people from overseas, and I just fuck with them. I just fuck with them. You know what I mean? And I'll take 5 minutes of my day to just really just have fun for myself. But they don't get anywhere. You know what I mean? So, but they're kind of I guess you get what you pay for with that too, right? And do you train those people up, and do you have conversations with them? Do you run them through hey, call us and give us your sales pitch? How do you know you're not just spending money overseas for calls, and it's just they're just okay, and they just hang up when someone says no, boom, just hang up?
Yeah. So there's two ways to cold call. Obviously, there's a lot of third-party services out there that'll do it for you. You hand them the list. They have their own dialer. They have their own employees, and you just pay them weekly. We do that. We actually had two different companies for a while. We split tested them. One works way better. And then we have our in-house virtual assistants who are full-time with us. We have 7 of them. We do have them cold call as well. Those are trained directly by us, managed by us, and paid by us as well. Now, we are part of a mastermind community across the nation. Some of the top real estate investors, and we get most of our recommendations, proof of concept from them. So like we owe credit to the Collective Genius Mastermind for what works and what doesn't, because we get together 4 times a year, and that's pretty much all we talk about. You know what I mean?
Wait, you guys have a nationwide kind of group that you'll get together quarterly throughout the country and discuss kind of concepts, what's working in what market, what design kind of is hitting the most, what's most profitable. Yeah, tell us more about this like coalition that meets up. I mean,
it's called the Collective Genius. It's one of the bigger masterminds, probably the biggest real estate mastermind. All different types of real estate investors, fix and flippers, wholesalers. And they've really expanded to, having some members that do self-storage, big multifamily syndications. There's a couple levels. There's like a premier, which is the high level that we're in. Then there's a lower level for people that are doing like under 100 deals a year. And then they now have like a new entry level. But it's awesome. We love going. We have made some great friends there. We have a few people from around our area that go to. Yeah. And you kind of just get together, hang out. There's, presentations, keynotes, breakout rooms.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because then you have an idea like, all right, I think this is where my business is going. You get in these breakout rooms, and it's like, all right, now I can implement this into my business. Yep. I never thought about this. This works in the Seattle market. This definitely can work in this market.
What's a breakout room? Explain that to a caveman like myself. It's not involved
well, it's like smaller subgroups. So like, not everyone does the same thing there. So there might be, a wholesale breakout room versus a construction breakout room.
Okay.
And, you're sitting with people that you can relate to the most. Because there are like, times where you're talking to a self-storage guy and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
But there might be something from his business that you could learn 100%. And implement in yours.
Yeah, that's why you should jump in all of them. Yeah, and see kind of what's working and say like, damn, you actually kind of get more out of those rooms. We do the same thing, obviously, in the mortgage space. It's like breakout rooms with tech, compliance, whatever it is, new programs. And everybody's obviously trying to sell a little something, but AI, anything.
Are these like the videos that I see with like the IBM and Apple dorks, and they're like, like up on stage, like stuff like that, right?
No, it's not like a rah-rah kind of like Tony Robbins whole deal. Although they're all right. I mean, they have their purpose, but no, the breakout rooms, you could really get quality feedback from like top producing people throughout the country on what's making the most money, like, and speed in our industry is everything, right? So I'm sure that's discussed all the time, the tech. And you being the chief marketing officer, right? Is that what
Operating
it is?
Officer.
Operating officer. So where moving forward, do you have ideas for the tech space that you guys, because you said mailers work. Again, I'm scratching my head because I'm like, how the hell do mailers still work like that?
They fucking work.
Yeah,
it's a demographic that you're marketing.
Sure, of course. Look, it is what it is. And there's that whole generation probably selling off, and that's a last-ditch effort. But like, is that sustainable forever, or does that I mean, I would think that's got to shift at some point, right?
Well, there's a diminished return, too. So you mail the same people over the course of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to be hitting the same people. But everyone has life changes or life things happen to them at different times. You know what I mean? So somebody that was not likely to sell to you last spring could be very likely to sell to you this fall. So a lot of the providers that we use that provide us these, likely to sell, they use a lot of their own technology, AI, different things, demographics, county records, to really help organize that and put those people that are in need of selling the most to the top of our list.
So seeing if people are back on taxes and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, now this time of year, we're in a political campaign bombardment right now, right? Because election day is a week away.
Which got me thinking about the mailers. That's what my head's like. I'm like, God, they must spend $1 billion.
Do you pause the mailers during this political time? Because, like, dude, I throw so much. I don't read any of them.
I can't throw them away.
I just throw it right away.
Yeah.
Dude. They're like in my mailbox every day.
No, but you said you kind of put yours in the format of the check. So, I mean, it'll like.
So it's an envelope.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we have multiple ones, too. We do regular mailers, but we usually switch them out. It's funny that you talk about the election, because we talk about kind of, changes in the season and the ups and downs of real estate. And I've had a lot of conversations recently with the team about, we've had a very slow October, slower than we've had any month this year. And we started to kind of attribute it to the election. I think people are starting to wait to see what happens.
People sit on their hands right now.
Yeah, and we're feeling that too. And also, this time of the year usually does become a little bit slower because of the holidays. But I think that the election definitely has a play in our, dip in business.
There's usually not as much of a slowdown in this time of year. It's 100% the election. And now my wife has a theory that there is a slowdown this time of year slightly because Halloween used to be a one-day event. Now my kids have to go to all these things.
Yeah.
Like me and Ryan just came from our kids' school to watch a Halloween parade. And it's like there's so many different events now and trunk or treats and this and that.
Yeah.
So like people are running this time of year, and then you have back to normal for a little bit, then you have Thanksgiving, then you have back to normal for a little bit, and then you have the Christmas rush. And then I always feel like when real estate opens back up after the winter is the day after the Super Bowl. Like once the Super Bowl hits and it's done, people open back up. And that's every fucking year, the Super Bowl.
Does that does it impact your end buyer when rates jump up another full point in a month? Does that impact kind of what you guys do on the front end, or no? It probably doesn't, right? You're still going out and acquiring the same way you would. So like rising mortgage interest rates wouldn't matter to you guys as much, right? Because you have a gigantic pool of buyers.
Well, South Jersey itself has a severe inventory problem.
Okay.
So
a low inventory problem?
Yes. So rates have not affected us as much as maybe you guys are feeling it here in Philly.
Yeah.
So, we really look to acquire good houses, put them out. We like to put out a very decent product compared to the competition, and we put it out at a very conservative price. And usually we're always getting asking or above. So now that we own, have the sister brokerage, we're able to kind of dive into the retail KPIs a little bit more, and that helps us influence our decisions on the buy side for investments because we kind of get to see inventory, all those numbers from realtors and retail deals versus we were always looking at KPIs on our end and seeing like what people are buying at. But then you have to realize like a business like ours is 124 days in the future. So everything that me and my team do today, it's going to be dollars in our pocket in January and February because it's, November now. So we always look at that in the future. You can't, like what you do today is not going to bring you $1 tomorrow in our business.
Can you explain KPI for the audience?
Yeah, it's like a key performance indicator. I mean, we probably have 1 million that we could run. There's maybe 25 that we actively look at every single day. We heavily monitor KPIs for our acquisitions and marketing, and those are the most important. And then on my end, in the back end, when we actually close deals, we kind of look at the KPIs on the back end, average spreads, all that stuff, so we know how much we can deploy back into.
So you're
business.
kind of living out of the KPI model, and then how did you get that? You said basically 4 months or 120 days is kind of like, all right, what we do today, 4 months, it's going to put money back into the business. Kind of what's the thought process there? What does it actually look like, and why does it take that amount of time? And what comes up? Do you ever fall much shorter than that? Do you go much longer than that? Obviously, because that would impact the net cash flow of the business.
Yeah, so that's the rolling number for the year. We call it the cash conversion cycle. So the beginning end of it is the day a lead comes in, and the tail end of it is the day that the deal closes. We mix it all together. Some people will separate it by exit strategy. Obviously, wholesale's much quicker lead time or conversion cycle. We put all of the fix and flips in there, and we combine it all together because we need to know it as a whole. So basically 124 days from today, when that lead came in, is when I'll probably be able to monetize on it.
Okay. So with these fix and flips, so that's obviously, a big hot button issue or not issue, but a program for the last few years, right? So tell us what that looks like for your company as opposed to someone like myself who could just have his own LLC set up and that's how he wants to invest it. I'm buying my first one. What's the difference between my process and your process?
So since we have so many exit strategies, I look at two different things. So a lot of people will say, all right, like let's do the 3-to-1 model. So if I can make 20,000 wholesaling it, but I can make 60 flipping it, I'm going to flip it. I like to look at it that way, but I more heavily look at, do I need the 20,000 now, or will I need the 60,000 in 124 days from now? Because being that our business is so far in the future, I can pretty much forecast the next 3 months pretty easily. And then we will throw in deals as the months go along that will close within that 124 days, the faster ones. So a lot of times when a new deal comes in, we look at both of those, you know what I mean? And then that makes us decide whether we're going to off it to another investor for them to make their money on it, or whether we need to keep that in-house and really capitalize on it. So we're trying to get the most juice out of every deal that we possibly can get.
Now it's all single family stuff as well, or is it multi? Do you have any plans to get in apartment complexes? Tell us a little bit about what the properties all look like.
This episode is brought to you by NEF General Contracting. NEF General Contracting is your go-to for all your local roofing needs. Local roofers serving the Philadelphia, PA region and South Jersey. Residential and commercial roofing. NEF General Contracting provides roof repair, roof replacement, maintenance, roof coatings, and 24/7 emergency roofing services. We install energy-efficient shingles from Owens Corning, GAF, TPO, and offer EPDM rubber roofs. Gutters and downspouts installation, window replacement, siding installation. NEF is the only roofing and exterior contractor that is allowed to work on my properties. You can reach NEF General Contracting at 267-690-4901 or nefgeneralcontracting.com.
I feel like there's a level of succession, right? So a lot of people, like you said, get into wholesaling and stay into wholesaling. I feel like we're in like the middle of that little real estate career. Whereas, some people start to graduate to multifamily syndication, right? That's the apartment complexes, stuff like that. We're still in that single family fix and flip. We made a lot of relationships recently, kind of just by branding ourselves in our market. We're really close with, a new construction guy, and, he's throwing houses up, left and right. So we're learning, we're dabbling in that. We're doing a couple subdivisions, like where we split off a lot and, So eventually we'll probably get to that. I think that's obviously where the real money's made. That's where you kind of have that longevity real estate career.
The only thing with that is you tie up money for longer periods of time and more money.
Yes.
So they're capital traps.
Yep.
So I recommend, like I always say, like stay in your lane. It's like don't let this, like what you're doing now, the formats that you have now, don't let those be paused by opportunities for like new construction, because you could almost set this back years by going towards that, because there's a lot of bullshit involved in new construction. I feel like guys who do new construction just do new construction. Like being involved in multiple things, it's tough.
And our new construction friend was a big flipper. He was doing 100 flips a year. Now he only does new construction.
Yeah.
And once you get
how many new constructions a year is he doing?
He probably hit 40 this year, 2024, and he'll do easily 100 next year.
Making much more money at the 40.
So he's doing like small subdivisions and stuff.
Yeah, one-off lots. But now he's doing neighborhoods, 5, 6, stuff like that. And like you said, I think that it's important to stay in your lane, and we know that. And it's funny when you there's two different kinds of people, and if you ever read like Traction or the EOS model, there's that visionary and integrator, and that's kind of what Santini was looking at, because he's very much a visionary, and when he hired me, he kind of wanted that integrator piece. So that's why we work so well together, because he's very much like, here's 20 crazy ideas for the day. Can you help me pick one that we're actually
the one that
to move forward with?
Now, does he also rely on you to be like, calm the fuck down, bro?
Yes.
Like,
it's funny too.
You're a little out of control.
He's a little hard to tame sometimes, but we learn to work well with each other in that aspect for sure.
Yeah, sometimes like they're the best friends and the best people to be around that will actually pull you aside and be like, you need to check yourself. Like, this is a stupid fucking move.
Yeah.
Like I respect people more that do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the visions, and you see, everybody says stay in your lane, but the lane will eventually shift, right? You could be in new construction at one point. Yeah, it could get wider. You could get in a multi. You could get in an apartment complex, condos, college dorms, whatever.
I'm more so talking about like doing everything at one. It's hard to be successful at each one when you're doing too many, right?
Sure, hell yeah.
You have to be like a specialist, and you have to be like a tactician in your field.
Unless you know how to really scale your business and delegate to basically be a mastermind at delegation. Like it's so next to impossible to be a jack of all trades. Plus, people don't know who to go to, right? So tell us what's next for the company. So right now, you guys had 20 plus employees, right?
Yep.
So you have 20. Where does that look like employee-wise? Are you getting out of that South Jersey market? Because as we say, like, you know, you have such a pent-up demand for inventory and purchases. You got to get your net's got to be wider at some point. Yeah. Do you go?
Yeah, there's always going to be houses to buy.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, we do 9 counties in South Jersey. It's probably half of New Jersey's population.
Nice.
Maybe not, because North Jersey's pretty populated. But you know, we're averaging about 20 to 25 deals a month now.
Awesome.
We'll hit just over $6 million in revenue for the year. So, you know, next year is very much going to be the same goal. And then, you know, beyond that, we'll look to grow because we're very blessed. We did excellent this year, but, you know, Q4 has been spent tightening up our systems. We're currently working on a new CRM, which will help us do a little bit more things.
Can you explain CRM?
Yes, customer relationship management software. We currently have one that's very like easy done for you. We're building out like a little bit more of a difficult one that does a little bit more as far as reaching out to our clientele automatically, AI tech, like
Sure.
you mentioned.
You're big on that shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, we have to, right? It's certain touch points for our clients, like specific ones that I like to use. You know, look, obviously, it is me, right? It's me or my team texting you from our office line. We're sending out, you know, campaigns. I find that important. Look, it's a little above my pay grade. Like, I don't know, but it works, right?
Yeah.
Even sending as far as, and again, I always go back to this mailer thing, like, but we laugh, like happy birthday texts are like one of our most effective forms of marketing.
Yep.
And it's like, you'll text out, you know, hey, happy birthday. And you care, right? You'll give a shit, but it gives you a sense to get back in with that client. They're like, hey, what are you doing? Leading off with a question. And they're like, hey, I'm just going down and taking my wife to a BYOB. We're doing this. You know, you get some funny ones back, obviously.
Yeah.
You send it to me. You might remind me it's my birthday because I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. Some guys, you know, but that CRM stuff works to the maximum, obviously. It's for client retention and just to get in front of your people all the time. That's what I use one called Bonzo. And it's pretty sick, right? So it's like my team can work out of it. We live out of it.
Yeah.
And it's really good. It keeps you organized. It keeps you moving. And the touch points are great. So, yeah. After that, like, so the CRM stuff, you're going to, text capabilities, I guess video messaging, things like that. Are you
we have most of that now. We're just kind of expanding on it. We're going to clean it up, organize it. You know, a sales team is definitely, you know, the hardest team to manage in business. So, you know, we keep a close eye on them because they are what keeps that machine running.
So tell us why. That's an interesting balance, right? Because guys like Nick think all sales guys like myself are prima donnas. We need this. We're in and out. And we, you know, there's a little truth to it. But
spend too much time on the golf course.
No, I mean, listen, you get business done. We were on there yesterday at a 9-hole, and you get a lot of business done.
Listen, you don't have to lie to me like
listen,
I'm not your wife. I'm not your wife.
It's definitely
right?
personality based. I mean, we invest in a system that everybody that comes to work for us takes a personality test, and everyone gets fit into a little category. And all salespeople usually fall in one of like 3 different profiles. Persuader is what they kind of coin it, or maverick. So like when you use those terms, you like think of that salesperson as being that type of person, and you really have to closely manage them.
That's
you know
like that's like the used car salesman dude that'll
just
slick talking.
Yep. Very much so.
Well, good. I mean, every sales organization needs them, right? Because whether it be a bartender, car salesman, you know, mortgage salesman.
I guess to certain...
the conversations suck, right? They're uncomfortable. You got to have them.
Yeah.
And it's like it takes a certain type of skill set to do it.
Certain leads come in where they're like, you know, it's going to be a tougher sale. You have your one salesman. You're like, all right, give it to this person.
Yeah, it's very much personality matching at that point.
Some guys are just matter of fact. We have 3 wildly different sales guys and partners on our organization where it's like one guy's so matter of fact. It's like, hey, this is what the rate is. This is what your payment is. If you like it, you close with us. If you don't, see you later.
Yeah.
It's like that, except for me. I'm like, hey, how can I work this deal, cultivate this deal, give a white glove experience?
Yep.
It's all different, dude.
That's what gets me going. Like, I'll call him like randomly, like it'll be a fucking Wednesday at 9:30 in the morning. And I'm like, man, I can fucking sell coke to a Colombian, man.
Well, when
like,
he gets all his acquisition,
you know, I get like work, like it still like gets me flowing. You know what I mean, and then like when stuff's like stagnant and this and that, Jen will be like, "Well, you go fucking find a sale to buy, or
Yeah.
go make a sale," because she knows it's like that's what gets me.
It's exhilarating,
Yeah,
right?
like,
Like
gets
people
the
always
blood
say,
flowing.
well, what's in it? We were talking about acquiring like family properties off camera. And it's like people always say, well, what's in it for you? Yeah, it's definitely money, but it's like the thrill of the acquisition piece. And it's part of the game, right? One, you're buying a property that otherwise isn't on the market anyway. And you're hooking somebody up with a home. And yes, you should make money in the freaking process, right? It's like, it's common sense. So
I was on the phone down the shore this summer, right? And Jen was sitting there, and my son was over there, and you know my whole family. And Jack's sitting there, and I'm on the phone. I'm like, yes, like, and he's like looking at me, and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, and I hang it up, and he's like, dude, what are you so excited about? I'm like, I just made us 150 grand. He's like, how? I'm like, because I just stole this fucking house, and these people are happy as shit to let me steal it.
Yep.
Like, they said the number, I said okay, got it done. It's fucking awesome. And he was like, it's that easy? I'm like, well, yeah, no. No.
Because there's a lot of FUs that come along the way. And like you said, you're like other people look at it outside, looking at it and counting other people's pockets. Well, they could have got 300 for that. Well, guess what? They only wanted 175 for it. I mean, they should have talked to somebody. They should have talked to a professional, right? This is when we kind of look out for our real estate agents who are kind of right now the punching bag in our world, right? They're taking a beating. Call one of the real estate agents, and if you actually give a crap about the money, they're the ones that'll tell you, hey, this is what you're going to make.
But again, there's also value in contacting people like me or Jesse, where we can offer you don't have to go through the whole process of people coming in your home. Some people live in a manner that they're embarrassed by.
Right.
They don't want the public seeing how they live, right? They don't want their family seeing things. They don't want a real estate agent seeing them in financial ruin. They just want, hey, I want a quick sale. I know I can trust you. I've heard that you close on deals. I want to sell it to you. Yeah. And there's that. You're selling yourself and your processes to them. And when you get a reputation that, hey, I come in, I mean business, what I say, it's going to happen. And when I tell you it's going to close, it's going to close. I guarantee you of that. And that goes a long way to certain people. Certain people don't want to go through the whole market and the whole bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say, so do you have agents on your team at all? Or you guys, the whole business model is to not have agents whatsoever, like even on the outsales, as you guys are, you already have the buyer lined up. So it's never technically even hitting market with your company, correct?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, realtors do an amazing job.
Yeah,
there's quite a few well-respected ones in our area. And we always encourage realtors to bring us deals because you'd be surprised how many people, will trust a realtor over an off-market home buyer, and they'll consult a realtor, like you said, prior to taking it to the market. But if that realtor can bring me the deal, I can promise that realtor an end product that they then get to relist that they'll be happy with as well.
Very kind of that,
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, Nick's been doing it forever. Obviously, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Sure. On that and not have to spend marketing dollars. I mean, some of the best deals come from realtors.
Really, I find it to be an educational thing where I have to educate realtors that just because my wife is a realtor, right, and I have numerous friends that are realtors, does not mean that you cannot contact me and say, hey, I have a project that I think would be good for you. You are going to get the end listing. The people on my team or my wife are not.
Right.
It is your deal, and you bring it to us. You say, hey, I think this is a good fit for you guys. We buy it. Okay, it's yours to sell.
Yeah.
So, once they realize that that's an easy process and then it's staged, it's clean, the product is good, they don't have anything to worry about, they're like, oh, this is a joke. This is so easy to do. Yeah. So it's I find it to be an education thing. You have to educate these realtors.
Yeah.
Right now in this market too, I feel like there's such an opportunity for a real estate agent, a buyer's agent to kind of find it, get it to you guys, bump that value up even higher, peel off that out sale, and now you're kind of in that ecosphere of man, you're hooking these guys up and you're just getting bigger deals on the way out. I would kind of pigeonhole my business. If I was a young agent, I would certainly consider pigeonholing my business to that.
Some of them are blinded by money though, right? So by that I mean they think, oh well, I think I can list a little higher because it seems like, oh, how high can I list this and how I can throw it onto my Instagram and say I got this for my client, right? When realistically you would make more money selling it to me at a discounted rate, getting both sides of the upfront sale,
the first
right?
sale, yeah.
And then at least one side of the back end sale.
Yeah.
That's going to be double, probably, if not more, of what you sold it to me for.
Yeah.
And I'm like, And when I spell that out to them, I'm like, this is what you would make. Well, I don't well, it does, there's no wells. If
Right.
I come in with a number, bring me in and just say, hey, I have a client that may give you, I have realtors do this. Hey, I have a client that may come in here and they're going to offer you less than what I think we can list it for. But it's going to be as is. You don't need to clean it out. They will take it as is, and it's cash, no problems. You don't have to go through all the bullshit and the rigmarole of the market.
Yep.
And people say, okay, so they'll bring me through. I give them an offer on the spot. If there's an agent involved, they take the agent to the side and say, this is what I'll pay. Okay, let me go talk to the person. Now, I'll ask them too, do you want me to talk to the person? Because I can sell. And they're like, some people are like, yeah, you talk to the person.
Yeah.
But again, it all comes back to educating realtors, and I'm not telling them like, if I say educate, some people might say like, oh, what do you know more than me? No, it's just I'm giving you another lifeline out here, another sales tool to utilize to make you more money. And do you find that to be kind of a battle sometimes? Like, hey, yeah, we have realtors to work with, but we're welcoming more.
Yeah. There's a guy, his name's Tim, that flips. Probably is the biggest flipper in South Jersey.
Tim
and he
T.
Has,
Tim T
capitalized on the agent referral business, right? So forever he was buying off of wholesalers, and everyone knows flippers can't buy off the MLS anymore. It's just impossible because then you have so much competition. But in all honesty, it's very funny because he was very much closed off and quiet. People don't realize the power of social media, right? All he needed was a videographer and posting some stuff on Facebook and Instagram. And being able to become that like South Jersey internet sensation, agents are just feeding him deals because they know he puts out a good product. And same with us too. But I talk about him because I give him credit for what he was able to build on that agent referral business.
I see what he's doing on social media, and it's pretty cool. And I imagine that he's also playing into a lot of realtors love seeing themselves, kind of egotistical type stuff.
They get included on the videos.
Man, he pulls them right in.
He's
It's great.
He's
Great
pushing them
sales
out there.
tactic,
He's
for
bringing
sure.
them in on stuff. So there's some people that don't want to be seen. There's some people that just want to operate in the shadows.
Yeah.
But he definitely is playing into that part of it, and he's doing a really good job at it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big part of the business, right? It's like you're getting content. You're on. I'm sure he's got a couple 100,000 followers if he's the biggest flipper down there. Yeah, I mean, you're linked up with one of the top guys in the industry, so that's all real estate agents give a shit about, right?
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Now, speaking of, like, when this market, real estate agents, like we said, are getting kind of beat up a little bit. You're seeing a lot leave the industry. Do you guys look to hire any hey, we used to do a lot of buy sell? Are they on your roster? Because I'm curious. You guys sound like you're about to really, really blow up some more. Who are you looking to hire? Like what type of people in real estate?
Yeah, the brokerage only has like 10 agents now. It's very much like in its early stages. We brought on like kind of like a director of member success. She's been a realtor, Valerie, for like 10 years.
Okay.
So she's going to help our broker build it out. Our broker's very much like a behind the scenes guy, and then we've just been focusing on people that are self-sufficient right now, big investors that are also agents or just agents that represent flippers like Tim. And then from there, we'll start bringing on, buyer's agents and new agents, because just as we build out the acquisition side of our business, we'd like to do the same for the brokerage and become a big player in the South Jersey market.
Yeah. I mean, this referral program, obviously, for agents is one that you definitely will get some ears perked up, right?
Yeah.
It's because it generates quick cash on the front end, probably, right? And then on the back end, you're getting a quality product that's basically ready to sell. It's out there. I really love the idea. So this guy Tim T, I gotta go follow him, I guess. So his stuff's crazy.
He's a pretty he's a character.
I've heard the name before.
He seems genuine though.
Yeah, he is.
But he's
awesome.
definitely
He's a good friend of ours,
he's definitely
too.
an
Oh, cool.
online.
Yeah, we consider him a great friend.
He's definitely like an online character. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but he seems genuine about what he's doing. I don't know the man in any way, shape, or
So
form.
obviously he went with the full-on scale, like, hey, I'm just going to become a social medium and sensation,
Yeah.
and that's his thing.
Yeah.
So you guys play in the same sandbox, right? You're fighting technically against one another for property. So
Here
in
and
a
there,
sense,
we partner with him a lot, too,
okay.
so we'll
how does
bring him a
that work?
dealer.
Yeah, how does that work? How are you partnering with a guy like that?
We have like a cutoff as to how far is too far. We're not full gut people
Okay.
for renovations. We don't like to take things down to the studs. We don't like to pull a full jacket. That's where Tim really is able to excel, because he has 4 crews. He has subcontractors in his back pocket, and he, turns these houses so fast. I mean, we're about to list a house that we just did with him, and he had it done full gut, 100,000 plus rehab, 45 days it was done.
That's wild.
In and out. You know what I mean? So those are the types of deals that we'll go with Tim on.
Now, you say contractors and subs, so that, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention CJ, that is the founder of the show, his company, Direct Subs, like they would go out and you can kind of build your fix and flip product or your rent and hold product through Direct Subs and build an a la carte kind of process. How are you sourcing contractors? How are you vetting the contractors? And I'm curious, like, would you guys use services like Direct Subs? Because it seems like that would streamline your business quite a bit.
100%. I feel like that's always a topic of conversation is contractors. Right?
Yeah.
So we have a head of construction who's been in the business for 20 years. He's basically my right hand, and we work, hand in hand together. He has a big book of business, and it's all about relationships, right? If you know someone who knows someone, you get a good referral from them, we're going to start using them. But to be able to create a marketplace for it, I've seen that before. Advertised, I believe it was on your Instagram. I think it's very clever.
Yeah. So because what we're doing here at Citywide Home Mortgage is we're implementing our 203K FHA loans with Direct Subs, because so how that happens is if I'm a buyer, first time home buyer, and I'm going in the open market, I get 3.5%. All right, I want to buy this house, but I don't know anybody or trust anyone to fix it. I don't know the first step. So it's like, okay, what we're going to do is come check out what the pricing looks like with the program. We have a contracting company, Direct Subs, that you can build it out. If it's a full gut renovation and it's a $100,000 renovation, you get a licensed and insured GC. If it's limited, $75,000 or less, we can just hire the subs. You don't even need a licensed and insured contractor. So for us, we're implementing that into our business because we found, okay, everybody knows a real estate agent. Most people know a lender. A lot of people don't know a contractor. And right now, you just can't trust many of them, right? You don't know what kind of number you're getting. And the
good ones are busy.
And the good ones are busy, right? So like that, and which makes your talent pool a little watered down, right? So as you're building these clients, but Direct Subs does a great job of kind of vetting who comes in and out, because you're posting your resume. Right. But the concept's amazing. You got to check it out. Plus the digital platform's sick that you could text it over to your clients and say like, hey, what are you looking for? A painter? Are you looking for HVAC? Are you looking for roofing? Or are you looking for somebody to run the whole thing? And we just actually put it in our business and kind of jumping into that more renovation loans themselves because it gets that shtick like, oh, it's such a headache to run through these loans. But if you build the system out right, it's really not.
100%.
Do you guys utilize more of a GC, a one-stop shop that's going to handle an entire project, or do you guys yourselves manage individual subcontractors?
Depends on the
trades?
Deal. Like we have that level of where we stop and we give it to like Tim or something like that.
So it just needs to be cleaned out and painted?
Yeah, that's easy. That's all subbed. But if it needs a full renovation, but it's ours, and it also comes down to how much we purchased it for. Can we bring someone else on to split the profit with? So I just did like a Mount Laurel property, and we bought it high and we had to, but there was no room to bring anyone else on it. So we used a GC, and it's like, there's my labor quote. And I was like, all right, deal. I pick out all the materials myself, pay for them myself, and we got in and out very quickly.
Oh, wow.
But that was a job that required no permits, and it wasn't a full gut. You know what I mean? So it really it's a deal-by-deal basis for us, who we use, how we use them.
What about staging? Do you stage everything?
Most. It depends. Like, I'm very good at deciding like who is going to be my buyer on this house. Like my clients, like will they appreciate a staged house? Does the market call for it?
I was just going to say, is it digital or is it physical or both?
We have an excellent stager. Her name's Jill with Meant to Be Homes. She's out of Haddonfield. I love the way she designs homes, and I've seen a lot of staged properties, and she honestly really puts some beautiful things together. So if we do stage, we always stage like real furniture. Okay. I don't usually like to stage photos. I feel like it's kind of a bait and switch. It does help people envision it, but I wouldn't be able to envision a home with photos anyway. I have to go and see it.
Yeah, totally agree. So what's her name and company? We'll throw it up on Instagram.
Jill Bonowitz with Meant to Be
Because
Homes.
that's another kind of thing. After you get through the process, you realize, man, like nobody even knows the design piece at this point anymore. Like I think we're out of the whole gray box open concept thing again, and we're getting back to different styles. I mean, what are you guys doing on your homes right now?
I stage everything, man. Like at this point, I just stage everything.
You guys do a
because-
lot of personal,
You have to
little
stand out,
touches.
too.
Yeah, he does a
Yeah.
lot of touches, little artwork in there,
Yeah.
different colors, vibrant doors, things like that.
Now we're doing a lot of honestly Jen has gone to all white walls, right? Semi-gloss white trim and doors, and she likes the white counters, white quartz counters, and then different tile backsplashes. But she doesn't want to get. Jen's theory is she doesn't want to get too custom, where it takes certain buyers out.
100%.
She wants a woman to be able to come in to a house and be able to change the look of a bathroom with hand towels and candles and soaps, and the same with the kitchen accessories, and it'll change the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like my wife loves to. We have fucking decorations. If you need Flag Day decorations, we fucking have them.
I
right?
need some
So it's
decorations
like-
here. I should be out decoration shopping for Halloween
it's like
right now.
Everything she has decorations for. So like there's hand towels, and then I'll get yelled at. What the fuck are you drying your hand off with that hand towel? I don't know. It's a towel next to the sink. Like
Right.
I'm
The
not.
decorative towel.
No, they're not for your hands. Well, what the fuck are they for? They're for fashion. They're for this and that. Like what the fuck? Okay, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just a caveman now. So it's different.
Yeah, so I guess to kind of finish out here, because we're running out of time already. It's been an hour, so kind of I know we mentioned kind of what's next. I'm excited to see kind of as we transition. Do you get to the more Philadelphia markets? Are you looking into Philly suburbs or even the beach towns? Right? Is there an opportunity down there for kind of single family, or is land at such kind of like, I guess, a premium that's
High
almost
acquisitions.
impossible. Plus, pivots to new construction, right? That's not just kind of your philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We've done a lot of deals in Cape May, Atlantic, and Ocean County. We recently had a second office in Linwood, which is in Atlantic County.
Oh,
we
nice.
just closed it. But that was our push at getting into the shore.
Is this more your residential kind of like live down there all year round, or are you even your vacation second home kind of buyer? Or does it not even matter to you guys who the end buyer
It's
is?
hard. Those shore towns are so close knit
Yeah.
and closed off. And you realize too, like the builders that are there are usually hired by a client. They're not necessarily buying, houses in bulk, flipping them in bulk. They're doing 1 to 2 at a time at the most, and they're spending insane amounts of money, but the profits are insane.
Yeah, you're grabbing the 50 by 100 lot or 60 by 100
Yeah.
lot,
And-
taking, ripping down, building two.
It really depends on what shore town you're in. Like we were talking before this podcast, the last affordable shore town is Wildwood. And it's funny to see, we have a lot of friends.
Just got in, baby.
We have a lot of friends in that city that are just doing crazy things, and there's just so much happening in that town. So like if someone wanted to get in the shore, that is the shore town that you should be getting into now.
Look at this.
because
That's where I'm taking my money. right now.
because if that's the last one left, and soon enough everything's going to be redeveloped there, and there's going to be nothing
Look
left
at
to do.
Avalon. If it's over 10 years old, they knock it the fuck down. Think about that.
Yeah.
It's a 10-year-old build.
Yeah,
They
now
knock
it's
it the
funny because
fuck
there's,
down.
there was a big write up in the Inquirer where they're trying to say, there's some that bought in the 60s, 70s, even the 90s, which is like they're saying 90s is throwback now, which is crazy. Like these residents don't want to build mega mansions. They're
Yeah.
like, we love what we have here. It's a little beach shack, but it's surrounded by all these
Yep.
things. But guess what? The time's coming, right? That just is what it is. That was our family's whole thought process. Is like, hey, what's the last frontier down the beach? Because there is only, you have to get in. The buy-in now is sadly, depending on condo or single family, at $300,000 to $500,000 at the bare minimum. And I know that game's hard. Yeah, like you said, it's like the acquisition down there is impossible because there's no land. But the profit margins are insane. So yeah, that's why I kind of asked, like, hey, is the business ready to get down there and have like a talent acquisition or a land acquisition kind of specialist?
Yeah. So me and my brother, I mean, we have a shore house in Wildwood, and it's funny, like when you look at where you put people. So like as soon as we got that shore house, we have done so much business in that town.
Yeah.
We've probably done 15 deals in that town since we've been boots on the ground there.
Good, because
So
we're going to
it's
link
real-
up because I got my place, and that's what I said. I'm going to live down there for a month, kind of get my pipeline going down there, and have my seasonal business
Yep.
running out of there as
Yep.
well.
We spent a lot of time together down the shore in Wildwood this summer, and my kids and all, and well, I told them before that, I said, hey, your friend Jesse's going to be on. And they were like, oh, they were so excited. And then last night, I said to the girls, I said, hey, guess who's coming on the podcast tomorrow? Me and Mr. Dolan. Like, who? I'm like, Jesse is. They're like, oh, awesome. So they actually drew you a photo.
Damn, look at that. Look at this.
So don't mind the misspellings, but
look at this.
Slay Boy Slay.
Slay Boy Slay. To end on
we
that.
had some great times down there.
Yeah,
this summer,
they're funny.
I'm going to frame this in my office.
And look at that. That's badass.
You know what's funny, too, is like we have, we spend so much time down there with our friends and family, and we kind of share an uncle now who is kind of related to nobody, but he's everybody's uncle,
Yep,
Uncle Paul.
Uncle Paul.
My kids love him. Everybody calls him Uncle Paul, and he's part of, he's more closely related to Steve-O. Through marriage, but like now everybody calls him Uncle Paul, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, people don't realize that the best memories are made down the shore.
Yeah,
and if you're not down there, you can't really like understand that. But once you get down there, man, you want to be down there every weekend, and it's just a great place to be. Well, real estate or
I was going to say the real estate piece is super exciting down there. I mean, the opportunity to see it blowing up and how much there's a lot of money involved in there. You could really get kind of lost into the opportunity down there. But Jess, it is awesome to hear about the business, how you've scaled so quickly, and what you guys got coming next. So where's the best place to find? Is it Instagram? Is it a website? Because we want to throw it up on the screen for our viewers because we're out of time already. And anyone can reach out to me or my boss, Jesse Sigall, Santini Lancioni, Hall of Fame Real Estate. We're all on socials. And this is anybody trying to sell a house. Say like, hey, I'm trying to get rid of, I have a family property. I want to unload. Call you guys.
Yep.
We'll have to have Santini on here too. You have to
really.
Yeah, 100%. I told him about it. He's got to come on.
We'll check out one of your guys' finished products and kind of go like on site or something like that.
And you guys are pretty active on Instagram, which is pretty cool.
And Santini has a great story to tell. So
what's the Instagram handle? Because that's the biggest one. That's where our consumers are looking.
HOF.
Okay.
_ real estate.
Awesome. Yep. HOF _ real estate. All right, Jesse. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks,
we really
guys,
appreciate it.
Over the bridge here.
Yeah, absolutely. For Nick Cessna, Ryan Dolan, another episode of the Atomic Real Estate Show. Thanks a lot.
If you enjoyed our episode, please consider supporting the show by rating and reviewing the podcast. Also, check us out on Instagram at Atomic Real Estate Show to find out when new shows drop and to participate in our community Q&As. The Atomic Real Estate Show was brought to you by Direct Subs. Direct Subs is the #1 place for real estate investors to connect with local contractors for their flips, rentals, renovations, and new construction projects.